Unit tests, integration tests, API automation tests, and UAT or end-to-end tests are the four types of testing strategies that you typically will see. So in this video, we're just going to quickly talk about what are those. So unit tests are typically owned by developers. Not even typically, most of the time they're owned by developers, and the code, the tests live with the actual code under test. So they're part of the repository. They test very small pieces. So a unit test is not written by QA automation engineers or SDETs. It's written by developers. The developer that's building the actual software writes small pieces of tests for each individual things that he or her is building. Then we have integration test. Again, integration test is owned usually by the developers. It is just one level above unit test. Unit test very specific functions, and integration test will test a little bit higher up. It will test integration between different services. So in unit test, you're not going to touch a database. You're not going to touch a browser. In integration test, you still don't touch browsers, but you will touch the database because that is part of the integration. Does the application read and write correctly to the database? Or if it interacts with other services. It's not going to go through the network. It's not going to have the real application running. It does not need a server. Now, when it comes to API automation and UI automation or UI, UAT, end-to-end automation, this is owned usually by QA automation SDET, people like me. So this is testing the application from higher up, right? The application needs to be running. You're going to make calls, like for the API testing, you're going to make calls through the network, that real HTTP calls to the application itself. So the app needs to be running, it needs to be deployed somewhere, or it can be in the same. It could be localhost, but usually you would deploy it into a dev environment or a staging or a test environment, and you make API calls to that service. So it's not just something in the background. The code for the API testing, API automation can live on its own in a different repository, but it is isolated from the actual application. UI, UAT, user acceptance testing or end-to-end testing is pretty much like the same concept as the API automation. Is high level. The application needs to be running. It's a browser. It's a UI, user interface. So you're using tools like Selenium or Playwright or Cypress. Those are the top. But you're actually opening a browser with code and interacting with the browser just like your users would. So you're simulating the actual user acceptance with this one, okay? So I would divide them into four like this.